Hi, guys, and welcome back to Purpose and Power Podcast. I am Renele Brooks, your host, and we are talking about something very unique on today. I wanted to first go back to our season one for those that have not been rocking with us from the very beginning. Season one, we laid it down, guys. We laid down the foundation with those foundational elements that you need to have in place so that you can build a strong foundation. We move forward into creating SMART goals, not just any goals, but SMART goals and the objectives, which are the action steps that help move the needle along. So we had a deeply impactful season one. Now we're here at episode 8 of season 2, guys. And we have talked about systems. Everything we talked about in season one was the springboard for season two, so that you could move forward into deeper things, more complex things, once you had that foundation built. So, jumping in on today, we are going to talk about system fatigue. I had to talk about it. I had to talk about system fatigue. Yes, it is absolutely necessary for you to have good systems, but there can come a time where your systems start running you. And I want to give you this caveat so that you don't get into system fatigue. And guys, if you have not purchased the Purpose Playbook, I want to encourage you to get it. It is all of season one, the key components that I felt were necessary for you to move forward in your business. It is all in a playbook. So I wanted to make sure that I got it out to you guys first. You are welcome to purchase it. You can go to purposeinc.life and click the Purpose Playbook, and you will be able to enjoy everything that's in there. And if you're a business or nonprofit or you're working a project and you're just stuck, there are so many golden nuggets I created so that anybody that was stuck would be able to move forward. There are lots of question prompts in there. There are lots of ideas. There are lots of plans. The goal is to keep you moving forward, guys, regardless of what situation you're in. Even if you don't have the finances, there's a chapter in there called the Hustle Exchange, and it's about bartering your services and skills with vetted people that you form a mutually beneficial relationship with, and you guys can both move forward in your business, even if the funding and the resources financially are not there yet. So guys, take some time and go and purchase the playbook. You will not be disappointed. So I just wanted to give that information for people that are tuning in the first time. Welcome and thank you for joining the podcast. And again, this is where we talk about faith, business. We talk about all things nonprofit. We help you to be able to move forward without being stuck. So today we're going to do a deep dive in system fatigue, and that's the moment when the very tools and systems and processes and automations you put in place to make life easier suddenly feel like they're holding you hostage. If you've ever felt like your ClickUp boards have turned into a black hole, you keep going and going and going, or you've got so many intake forms that you forget what's on them, this is the episode for you. We're going to talk about how to recognize system fatigue, why it happens, and how to fix it so that your system go back to serving you instead of bossing you around. Guys, it can get ridiculous. I wanted to talk about it so that you would make sure that you don't go there. System fatigue, what is it? It's not just burnout. It's when your tools and your automations and your processes have become overly complicated or outdated or misaligned with how your organization actually operates. And this can happen in both nonprofits and small businesses, especially as you grow and you start to add tools without retiring the old ones. There has to be a transition period. In project management, when people are bringing on tools such as Asana or Trello or other different tools, and they're outdating one and bringing on another one, there's a whole process that takes place for the transition. You can't just up and say, okay, today we're doing this. No, you will be burnt out. Your employees will be confused. And there has to be a transition time in between that so that your employees have time to get used to the new system, phasing out the old system, understanding the tools in the new system and all of that. So when you start to use these tools, you have to phase out old tools that no longer serve your organization. And I know it's a hard process, and that's why you want to take the time with your employees, because Guys, change is difficult, and not a lot of people like change. People like their comfort. People like to stay stuck in their old ways, old systems, old way of doing things. So when you bring about something new, you have to make sure that you take the time to implement it so that there will be a successful transition. So let me give you some signs that say that you have system fatigue. You start avoiding your tools. You literally dread opening them because you feel like they're work instead of help. There are too many steps involved, and we talked about this earlier on. What used to be a 3-step process is now moved to a 12-step marathon. You're starting to duplicate work, entering the same information in multiple places. Guys, you don't need 5 or 6 client retention management systems. You have to make sure that what you have is serving you and serving you well. Over automation. Automated systems are golden, but if you over automate, you've automated so much that you've lost the personal touch, especially for your donor relationships or your client relationships. That's no bueno. That's not good at all, guys. So you want to make sure that you don't over automate. You do still need to speak with your clients in your community and the people that you are serving. You have to maintain that personal touch. Like I said, especially for donor client relationships. So you know that you have reached system fatigue if no one knows the process. The systems have gotten so complex that only one person understands them, and that one person might be you, because you have integrated and you know the system, but nobody else does. So let me tell you why this happens. System fatigue happens because you add tools just in case, but you never remove them. So you have all these tools working, but it was a just in case moment, but you never used it and you never removed it. So now you have this tool and that tool and that tool and this tool. So it happens because processes built for smaller operations were never updated as you scaled to a more complex, bigger operation for your business. Guys, everything has to move. This is a faith term, but we say when the ark is moving, move with the ark. And those of you that know. And so I'm saying when your business upscales, move the tools along with that. And you may need to change some tools, but do that with a correct timing and the correct application of the transition period for those new tools. It also happens when you adopt every trend without thinking about the long-term sustainability. Another reason why system fatigue can happen is because you don't have regular audits. Guys, I've said this over and over, but every quarter, audit your systems. Audit to make sure they are still running at optimal efficiency. So how can we fix this? Audit your systems quarterly. Audit your systems quarterly. Ask, is this tool or process still serving us? Can it be simplified? And I love this core value, continuous improvement. continuous improvement. And that's a core value that companies have when they want to keep improving. They don't want to stick with the status quo. And it becomes part of the culture. So everybody knows that we're updating, we're checking for inefficiencies, we're seeing ways that we can improve, we're suggesting innovative ideas. And I love a culture that makes sure that ideas are welcomed. So how can we fix the system fatigue? One, audit your systems quarterly. Ask, is this tool or process still serving us? Can it be simplified? You want to also eliminate redundancy. Have one tool for your CRM, your project management, and your communication. Simplify your steps, guys. Remember, we talked about the 3 steps versus the 12 steps. Cut unnecessary approvals, forms, and handoffs. If you don't have to have it in place, cut it out. Prioritize your training. If no one knows how to use it, it's not going to work. So you want to make training a priority. Reintroduce the human touch. And this is especially important in nonprofits, guys, because you have donors and you have volunteers, you have sponsors that need to feel seen and not just processed. You don't want to just work them through. No, you want a human touch to be involved in that process. So here are some tools. Dubsado, which we talked about before, and that could be your workflows and your CRM, and Asana, which is, of course, my favorite, and that could be simple project tracking, okay? So your nonprofit tools that you can use are called Bloomerang, and that is a donor management without bloat. It's not a whole bunch of stuff in there. It's just what you need, okay? Little Green Light. It's a simple CRM management tool. And I talked about this before in one of the episodes Monday. Monday is a streamlined team coordination. So it helps you keep everything on track and it allows team members to access it without a whole bunch of struggle. Keeps everything in one place. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by your own systems, it's time to reset. If you need help doing that, you know that Purpose Inc. is here. But what I suggest is you go ahead and start eliminating things that you don't need. You can do that on your own. Start trimming the fat and getting back to a system that actually is going to work for you. All right. So that's it for today's dose of purpose and power. Guys, remember, systems are supposed to serve you, not the other way around. You're not going to be bossed around by your systems. You don't want to step into system fatigue. I hope this episode is going to help you to be able to then get control of your systems and you start running them instead of them running you. So if you've been nodding your head this whole episode thinking, oh my gosh, this is me, then I challenge you to pick one system this week, guys, and give it a glow up. Pick one system and give it a glow up. Follow the steps that I put in place for you here, and hopefully you can get that system under control. If you love this episode, share it with a fellow founder, fellow nonprofit leader who's drowning in too many logins, too many checklists, too many systems that aren't working for them. And let's reclaim their time and their sanity. Until next time, guys, keep leading with purpose, keep building with power, and don't let your systems run your life. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you on our next episode. Again, this is Renele Brooks. Take care.